So let's go through all the little changes on this refreshed Odyssey. You know, there's a new look, of course, but there's new features, a lot of new features inside. So, but yeah, for the styling up front here, guess what? We get a lot of this more aggressive, sportier look is what they're saying with these larger fog light surrounds. And they've kind of done this little design at the bottom of the bumper here, kind of on like the lip section. It's like this SUV inspired look. So think about it. You see this on like, actually you can see it better in this other image here. You see this on a lot of like off-road oriented SUVs, even some of the trail sport models that Honda makes. Yeah, you see that little detail there. So they are trying to make this thing look a little bit more rugged. Now, you know, there's no there's no extra capability here. You know, this is still just a front-wheel drive minivan. You know, this is like the elite model here, the luxury model. They do say that there's a new Sport L. Now, it's weird. They haven't shown any pictures of this model off. So I kind of threw this thing in the Photoshop to just get a look and just imagine what the Sport L might look like with an abundance of black accents. So there you go. Yeah, I think it's going to look great on this new updated design. And by the way, you know, if you're wondering, like, if you can't remember what the current model looks like, this is the current model. If you do want to get one of these new 2025 Odysseys, you are going to have to spend a lot more money. Now the prices haven't gone up that much, but they got rid of the base model. They got rid of the EX. So you are going to have to spend at least 43 grand for one of these, because now the cheapest model is the EXL. And that one, they say, doesn't even have the USB ports in the third row, which, you know, should be standard on a minivan, right? So, but you get those in all the other trims. But before we talk about all the new stuff on the interior, let's continue on the outside here real quick. Yeah, as you can see, this is just a minor facelift. So from the side, it doesn't look any different. It doesn't look any different. And, you know, if you want, like they're showing here, if you want the hands-free tailgate, you got to go for the elite model, the top trim, of course. And something interesting about this photo too, you know, they are trying to market this thing towards, again, towards people who might be leaning towards an SUV. So you're going to be, you know, I guess, hey, I guess they're saying you're going to be able to take your Odyssey out to like a national park. I don't know, do some kayaking. Just hopefully, you know, you might want to stick to the paved roads here. You know, notice that this is a nice, perfectly smooth paved road. I guess if you can find a road like this that leads up to a lake, you're going to be fine, right? Because again, this is only front wheel drive and it doesn't have a whole lot of ground clearance. Now on the rear end here, they do say there's some new smoked taillights. And then this is kind of funny. This is funny. So they're saying that these rear bumper reflectors are actually from the NSX supercar. And this isn't something that like somebody just happened to notice online. This is like they're actually advertising this. They're trying to sell you on this, saying that yes, this is indeed the same part. So there you go. I don't know. You know, on the front they tried to make it look more like an SUV, and on the rear they tried to make it look more like a mid-engine supercar. So hey, they're trying everything here to sell you on a minivan. And yeah, here's another. This is kind of a better look at it on a white one. It's the same part. Same part. And, you know, again, just to kind of refresh your memory, this is the current model. Now let's talk about the interior. There's a lot of new tech here. So the dashboard, again, minor refresh. There's nothing, it's not really a new dashboard. But guess what? All the digital stuff, all the tech stuff has been updated in the front and in the rear. We'll get to that too. So yes, now we do get a 9-inch screen. This is 1 inch larger. But guess what? The big news is they do claim that there's a faster processor in here as well. You know, yes, you can get bigger displays than some of the competitors, but, you know, really, this is going to work good enough. And then the gauge cluster here, I was actually surprised to see this, because Honda's been using this gauge cluster on like pretty much all their other models. In fact, this is like their base model entry-level gauge cluster. So, but I guess, yeah, the Odyssey it had this kind of like weird futuristic, it had this thing. So this is new to the Odyssey here. And if you're not familiar with this gauge cluster that Honda does use in their other products, this part here on the left side, this is all digital. That's digital. And then this is a traditional analog speedometer. But it does have that like electroluminescent lighting on it. So it kind of matches. Like, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look like, well, there's an old gauge and here's a new gauge. No, it kind of, you can't even really tell. So as far as like the execution of this goes, it's actually really good. It's a really nice setup. And you can change the tack here. If you don't want the tack, you can bring up a whole bunch of other stuff. You can just get rid of it. So it does look nice. No, it's not a full digital gauge cluster, but it's really close, and it's very good. And of course, you know, the reason you're buying a minivan, yeah, it's for all this space. And, you know, if you're going to have a bunch of people in the back, a bunch of kids in the back, you want to keep them entertained, right? So we do get a new rear entertainment screen. It's a 12-inch display now versus the old 10-inch. So that's actually, yeah, that's going to make a big difference, actually. And then, yeah, let's talk about the competitors here. So, you know, for the powertrain on this new Odyssey, this 2025 Odyssey, there's no change. So it's still the V6, naturally aspirated. It's still 280 horsepower, and it's still got the 10-speed automatic. So, you know, is it going to be the most fuel-efficient minivan you can buy? No. You know, is it going to be the most powerful minivan you can buy? No. But think about it. This is like a proven powertrain, isn't it? I mean, this is probably going to be for sure one of the most reliable minivans you can buy. Now, you can get a, you know, a naturally aspirated V6 in this new Carnival, which, by the way, you know, the styling here, there's a lot of good stuff here as well. And they are going to offer a hybrid. So that's still where Honda's dragging their feet. And then obviously you're probably familiar with the Sienna, which is a hybrid. And that, you know, you can get all-wheel drive as well. But then you gotta then you gotta be seen driving something that looks like this.